Okay, Democracy 3 on the PC. Again, I'm using my Winbook tablet. We're in quarter number 6. Forgot to advance the game last time. So let's implement the policies I said I was going to implement last time. So you get 37 political capital. So I said I was going to spend some of this political capital by reducing border controls. Freedom of information, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in just a second. So crime is down, GDP is down. So let's see if we can lower some expenditures. So we'll lower that by 13. Yeah, that is a big chunk of immigration. Okay, so we lowered immigration costs a lot. Because we said we were going to do that. And so we have 24 left, so we're not going to fire anybody. So let's see what our cabinet's got to do. Okay, let's see. Show potential ministers. Okay, so again, we have a lot of weak links here, but these people have a lot of political capital, probably because they're loyal. Because I'm not going to fire anybody, because that might cause some problems later, so I understand. Okay, next order of business. Freedom of Information Act. There have been calls for a law to increase the availability of information held on databases about citizens without their knowledge. These include the records held by private medical companies. Reject proposal. Nobody likes the idea of the government holding information about them, but in some circumstances it needs to be done. Information up to spotted process only hard for intelligence services to keep an eye on watching serious criminal terrorists. Also face over business that can be databases. Oh, increase the availability of information held on databases about their knowledge. Proposed the Freedom Act. Centrally have this law passed as one of the checks and balances required in a freely decided. Average law-abiding citizen should not be spied on or monitored, and the potential for abuse by government agencies cannot review what data is being stored, is being used. Yeah, we're going to propose that. Without their knowledge, yeah, we'll propose the Freedom Act. That should help us out a bit, I guess. Polls haven't moved. Okay, so I think we're a compass. I guess we're more capitalist than I thought. Turn 5. That's cute. Okay. Expenditures. We're spending less on border control, obviously. But the debt's rising, as you would expect. Ethnic minorities are going to love what we just did with the border. Okay, so what else do we got? Crime is down, but GDP is down. So the next order of business is what during this recession? Open to ideas. There's not a whole lot we can do other than propose new taxes. Okay, so we're going to get our political capital up in the next turn. So we'll be up to 48, so we'll see what we can do then. So let's continue for now. Pandering to the media, cackling on unknown unknowns, lobbying ministers, posturing on foreign policy. GDP is stabilized. Crime is still down. Rubbish tip protests. Green protesters have staged a noisy protest at the location of a proposed landfill site on the outskirts of one of our cities. People are also angry at the placement of the site. Encourage recycling, reduce waste, unless they want to find yet more sites for landfill and face more protests. I understand. Next. Budget. Debt is up. Income is down. Expenditures are down a tiny bit. Interest rates flat. Global economy is down again. Border controls. Freedom of information. Rubbish tip protests. Wait. Let me see what that's about. Next. These. Yeah, okay, whatever. Environment. The environment. I know something about aircraft carriers for real. John Kerry. Okay, so we got 46. I thought we had 40. 48 was our maximum. Okay, capital per turn 23. Just giving us even less. So basically, we have 2 really good ministers and a bunch of really crappy ones. So. All right. That'll decrease their loyalty if I start firing them. Okay, so education is doing great. It's going up again. Poverty is dipping a tiny bit. Polls gone up a little bit. Okay, so how do we spend that political capital? Armed police, they're not popular. So that was the other thing I said I was going to reduce, which is we're going to not disarm them, but basically just reduce it to specialists. We cannot cancel the policy. We do not have enough for that. So crime is still down. How much is that going to cost? We can reduce it significantly, but we can't reduce crime anymore. But at least we got it mainly under control. So make a note of that for later. What about the let's see, property tax? This is money, people. I mean, come on. Let's see. Tax paid on the wealthy individuals passed to their descendants. Let's see. The wealthy don't like that. Socialists increases the number of socialists. Retired, high earnings. Yeah. Retired don't like that, obviously. We could raise it, but that's pretty expensive. What do we get for it? Get an extra $6 billion. That ain't saying much. Car tax. That's a significant chunk of money, but environmentalists like it. But farmers obviously don't like it. Car usage, motorists. So you'll get some money out of it, but it costs you some political capital. So there's more money to be gained from that than by. It's also sort of a middle class tax. We're not going to worry about that yet. I could canceling it's too expensive, shockingly. Okay, income tax. Yeah, the middle income do not like it. So you could lower it, but you're going to have to make up the money somewhere else. Wealthy, what don't they like? They don't like corporate taxes. They like gay communities. They don't like corporate taxes, income taxes. Well, okay, they really don't like the inheritance tax, which doesn't give you that much money anyway. It doesn't give you that much money anyway. What about high earnings? Luxury goods tax. Not a big fan of that. The wealthy really don't like it. Middle income is not so wild about it, but they don't care as much. What about the property taxes? Aren't very popular among anybody, I want to say. Yeah. They don't hurt as much. So you can gain a lot more revenue from that, but the middle income voter is not going to like that. The wealthy don't seem to care that much, but I think it's kind of interesting. Okay. Let's see. High earnings, middle income, and the wealthy. Corporation tax. Capitalists hate it. Let me check on that. So it improves the uncompetitive economy a bit. So you'll get a bit more money. You'll get about extra $60 billion. Capitalists hate it. Self-employed hate it. It's a drain on GDP, which is the other thing. Where it changes. High earnings. Probably. It's possible to benefit them by offering tax exemptions and loopholes for the rich by favoring progressive taxation rather than progressive income taxes. We're getting less of that over time. Capital gains, luxury goods. Capital gains, what's the deal with that? It's a drain on GDP, as one would expect. Inheritance tax, wealthy. So here's an example. Luxury goods tax is not a drain on the GDP. Middle income voters don't like it as much, but it is not a drain on the GDP, surprisingly. Which doesn't bring in much money, though, which is the other problem. So we could raise that. Let's see. And luxury goods, property tax, inheritance tax. Is not a drain on the GDP. But middle-income voters are not happy with that. Which is weird. You don't get much money for it either. It's very expensive to implement. And let me check on one of these other things. Property taxes, they're a bit much. Let's see, wealthy, income tax. Yeah, the middle income voters don't like that. Let me check on that. Capital gains tax is a huge drain on the GDP. Well, it can be over time. Yeah, it can be. So that's the thing. Revert. Yeah, so you can spend. So it's not that expensive to implement, but it's very expensive to low. It's equally expensive to raise it or to lower it, which I think is fascinating. I think it is really fascinating. So we can double that, get that cash. It's a minor drain on the GDP, unfortunately. Yeah, see that. So we have to make it up in some other way by actually hiring people. So what's our political capital now? 39. Okay, so we aren't. What did he say we weren't going to do? We're going to lower expenditures and increase some revenue. So what can we lower? In terms of, we could probably lower military spending again, but again, we got to get that unemployment rate down. It's under control, though. Crime is way down, so we're doing okay. Or the armed police. That's going to be a lot of political capital, so we'll lower it if we have to. Okay, we're not going to get much money out of it either. Expenditures. So income, we're going to get an extra $40 million apparently from the tax I just raised. And we can lower military spending. How do we lower state pensions? I don't think you can lower state pensions. Yeah, you can. You can lower state pensions, but that's a big political cost there. Let's see. State health services, I think we're going to increase that eventually. Doesn't do much to unemployment, but it might be, yeah, you can raise it, it's going to cost you a bit. Tech grants don't pay off right away. Alcohol abuse, we could tax that. That's not going to be popular at all, obviously. Alcohol abuse has gone down significantly, so there's community policing. Community policing has paid off. How has alcohol consumption been doing? Consumption has not moved very much. Probably because GDP isn't going that much either. Social behavior has gone down. It's gone down a lot. So community policing has definitely helped there, as has the police force. So what about armed police? What does armed police do? Violent crime, right? So armed police lower violent crime. So police force is what you need. Armed police lowers it a lot. How much do we spend on the death penalty? Wow. So we can, that's a lot. It's very expensive to implement. Look at that. It costs no money, though. Look at this. Mass murderers only. So it costs no money to implement. For homicide. Mass murderers only. Homicide. Homicide and rape. Violent crime. Any violent crime? For serious crime. For most crime. Decreases violent crime rather quite a bit. Not that much, though. Which I think is kind of amusing. Conservatives really like it, even though it's not commensurate with it's commensurate with the amount of crime that gets lowered. Vigilante mobs, it lowers vigilante mobs. Nope. Violent crime. Community policing lowers it a bit. Alcohol laws lower it a tiny bit right away. Racial tension, alcohol consumption, prisoner tagging might lower it. Liberals don't like it very much. You could spend more money on it. Yeah, it's not that expensive, but it doesn't lower crime by that much. And what if you lowered it? Well, the cost is going down anyway, right? Because crime is going down, so you don't have to worry about it so much. Okay, so there's an argument for lowering it, obviously. Or it changes. So crime is basically under control. We gotta get the GDP up. So my argument is we're reducing expenses. Let's see. Prisons. We already got that. School vouchers. Increases the earnings of the poor. Really? Yeah, socialists won't like that, but it increases the earnings of the poor, which I think is interesting. Increases private. What happens to private schools, by the way? Let's see. Causes poor earnings to go down over time. Really? That's interesting. Increases the cost of school vouchers. Causes earnings of the poor, the middle class to go down over time. Wow. Yeah, because private schools do. Okay, unemployment. It decreases unemployment. That's state schools. We already have state schools. You might have to increase those. But yeah, it's very expensive to increase state schools funding, which I think is interesting. Okay, so not a whole lot we can do. Alcohol abuse is very expensive, but it's going down. So we might need some rules to decrease alcohol consumption. And that means we're going to need an alcohol law. There ought to be a law. And the law is not very popular at all. Minimum age 21. Low strength beer. Lowers crime. Liberals don't like that. Strong restrictions. Costs no money. But it costs political capital, obviously. You can lower it. Violent crime, so actually increases violent crime, which I think is interesting. How about, let's see. That's a massive decrease in, wow, look at that. That's a massive decrease in alcohol consumption. Let me check on something. So if you decrease alcohol consumption, it decreases alcohol abuse. Oh, it's decreases productivity, okay. So, wow, you're going to have to take the hit with liberals, huh? We can afford to, let's be honest. So we're going to have to take the hit with liberals. It's a free way to reduce the amount of money we waste on alcohol abuse, I guess. Yeah, we're going to have to take the hit, liberals. Okay, so we're going to have to take the hit with liberals by stronger enforcement. Alcohol law. So it'll take a year to go into effect. But it'll be a massive reduction in alcohol consumption. Like, it's not even funny. How much alcohol consumption is going to drop. It's going to drop in half. Liberals aren't going to like that, but it's going to drop in half. Wow. That's kind of amazing. Okay, we can take the smaller drop. Not a big drop to violent crime, really. But yes, it can significantly decrease alcohol consumption. Okay, so so if liberals are willing to pay less money in alcohol abuse, I guess it might be worth it. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So we'll spend less money on alcohol abuse. Apparently enforcement costs nothing, which I think is rather amusing. Enforcing an alcohol law costs nothing. And that makes no sense. Policies. Polls. Voting intentions. Don't need that. Policies. The alcohol law is not going to be very popular, I can assure you. It's free, and that it costs nothing to implement, but it's not very popular. So our popularity is going to drop, I'm fairly certain. But of course, if crime goes down, and what else goes down? The cost, well, we're reducing expenditures anyway. Oh well. Ethnic minorities went up. So we have 26 political capital left. We'll be up to 40. We'll be up to 46 in the next turn, because that's all we can do. Okay, next order of business. So we reduce some expenditures. We might reduce alcohol abuse. In a year, that money will be reduced. Can we afford to reduce military spending at this point? Probably not. Nope. It's also going to increase unemployment, so let's not do that. We're getting some extra revenue in with a new policy, with the new tax that I've instituted. So we might be able to get that under control, but we need income to go up, and that's the problem. Income hasn't gone up at all. Actually, it went up because of the luxury goods tax, I think. So any policies I can implement, I don't have to. I'll just see what I can do. I can do import tariffs. Spend some of that political capital on import tariffs. Let's see. I keep talking about tariffs. They're sitting right there. Sitting there. Economy. Recycling. Estimated popularity of the voters. Robotic research grants. Ag subsidies, which I thought we already had. Consumer rights. What? Oh, it costs money. It's a lot of political capital for consumer rights legislation. Wow, dude. Maternity leave. That's pretty expensive, too. Organic farming subsidy. Recycling. Tax shelters. Work safety laws. Might end up doing that. Trade unionists, business leaders are concerned with the high levels of bureaucracy. It'll cost a bit of money, though. Foreign investor tax brackets. Tax, I've already established a bunch of taxes, though. School tax credits. Yeah, it's very expensive to implement. Yeah, we don't even have recreational drugs here. We've already implemented the alcohol tax, right? No, we haven't. We could, but it's very expensive. We're not going to do that. Let's see, free eye tests, organ donation. It's a lot of political capital. Free school meals, public libraries, school prayer. That's a lot of political capital. Costs nothing. Stem cell research, very expensive. Costs nothing. Face school subsidies. Very expensive. Law and order. Yeah, we've already done everything we can that matters. Let's implement racial profiling. Sounds like a hit. Transport. Satellite road pricing. Nope. Can't do it. Too expensive. Politically, anyway. National service. Nope. Too free. Implement a draft. What are you, nuts? Think that's going to be popular? On Patriots it would be. Let's see. Child benefit. Again, the welfare fraud deposit's hilarious because it's popular, but it costs money. But it helps nobody because it costs money to maintain. So it's just weird. You're paying for votes, as I've already mentioned, as far as this game's concerned. Security briefing. Wildlife Trust. Human Rights Society is gaining influence, which I think is interesting. Business first. That means they'll probably end up joining, what? The Freedom League, I guess? I don't know. Was Steve Forbes going to start an armed insurrectionist group? What? He might pay for some AstroTurf. We don't think he won't. Okay, so we'll get up to 46 on the next turn. Yes, sir, I said there was a policy I wanted to implement here. Work safety law. It'll cost a bit of money. Yeah, let's do that. So we spent some political capital on that. Self-employed won't like it. Trade unionists will like it. It increases health, so that's good, not by much. It decreases productivity, which I think is hilarious. So basically, it's about the trade unionists and a tiny bump in health. Okay, so let's see what that does. Apply those changes. We'll see if it wasn't much of a boost, frankly. Probably should not have grabbed that. Okay, it's better work. Q6. There we go. So let's see how we do. We'll peek at what we have to do coming up. Ethnic minorities love us now because of all those border controls we removed. See? By the way, we still got a deficit. Income. Expenditures. Chats. Income is down. Expenditures are down. Expenditures are down, but the economy isn't growing. I don't know what to tell you, kids. I don't know what to tell you. Work safety law. Capital gains tax. We increased it, by the way. Let's see. Interest rate stable. Global economy is going down. So basically, the game is implying that we need to grow the economy because we're hosing ourselves, basically. Okay, debt's going up, obviously, as one would expect. Rubbish tip, obviously. Wait, I forgot to advance. We got to advance time. Duh. Forgot to explain that part. Fudging unemployment figures, pandering to the media, fiddling ministerial expenses, inventing the internet. Nothing is down or up. Credit rating is downgraded to B-, probably. Yep, it's now triple C. One company's going to we're investing in our economy. Will also result in the interest rate we pay on our debt rising. There's a good chance to up it. Regain credibility by reducing the level of debt as soon as possible. So they want austerity. Polls. We dipped. Probably because of the alcohol law. Let's be brutally honest here. Where did we dip? Amongst the poor. Probably because of the alcohol law. Where else did we dip? Ethnic minorities, obviously. Capitalists, obviously. I mean, duh, we expected. Wait, where are we with liberals? Conservatives are okay with us still. Liberals, we dipped amongst the liberals. We dipped amongst the liberals because of the alcohol law, it looks like. But it's supposed to reduce our alcohol consumption, and that also means... Where's the alcohol consumption here? It's one of these. Alcohol abuse. Right there. It's going down a bit. Where's the alcohol law is going to go into effect in a year it'll go into effect, and that'll reduce our alcohol consumption. But we took the hit to liberalism right away, obviously. We took the hit amongst the liberals right away. Energy efficiency. That will increase GDP eventually. But to get it, you got to invest in science funding, which will increase your GDP in 5 years. It'll lower unemployment, which is good. Not by much. See? Not by much. So you're basically paying $50 billion for a tiny dip in the unemployment rate, but it'll pay off in the long run. So that's another thing you can put your government money towards, I guess, before it changes. Raising it isn't that expensive. Lowering it's very expensive compared to raising it, so keep that in mind. So we'll come back. Deficit's lower. So there is that. See, okay, income went up. So that's what I need to see. Income went up. But expenditures went up a bit too. Okay, but that's what matters, is that we're trying to get our debt under control, and we think that boost, what was that boost? The capital gains tax boosted our income. If we want to reduce expenditures anymore, we're going to have to spend some political capital on reducing government spending, which these days means the military, of course. You'll see over here. So we got to reduce military spending, and we're probably going to have to reduce. Well, alcohol is going to take a while. Can't reduce the police force until we can reduce crime, I want to say. Yeah, but this is the big one right here, is military spending. You spend a lot of political capital reducing it again, but you got to eat the unemployment. So that money's got to be put somewhere else. But the science funding will help in that sense, because the science funding will pay for that. Okay, so I'll keep that in mind for later. Put it towards science funding if you can help it. Because that will lower unemployment right away. And it'll eventually pay off in 5 years. But it won't pay off till after the election. We'll stop it here.